Hello.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good morning.
Good morning, Nisha. Welcome back to Paws Trails webinar.
And this one is extremely special.
Yes, it's our 23rd online webinar, and today we are uh, going to have a
Have-
special guest with us who is a master in Astro Photography.
So what we are going to see is going to be extremely magical, and it's not just going to be seeing something magical, and he is also going to take you through the journey and going to teach you as well. So it's going to be an amazing experience, and it's Samy Al Olabi.
Yeah, Samy is currently based in Dubai, inspired by his love for nature and night skies. He reaches for the stars from the dark corners of Arabia. Astronomy, arts, and adventure were his greatest passion since he was a child. When he grew up and took construction management as a source of living, his devotion and commitment to his passion eventually led him to where he is right now. His body of work in astrophotography is regarded as one of the best in the region, a true category benchmark. Samy is a true believer that breaking the trends and thinking outside the box is what every photographer should do to stand out with his work. Every now and then, he starts a conceptual photography project. He sometimes mixes abstract and miniatures with astrophotography using technically complex and lengthy process of focus stacking, exposure stacking, in addition to star stacking, resulting in some amazing photographs. One of his recent projects, Nowhere Land, was globally acclaimed among international entities. It went viral and got published worldwide. Sammy's work has been published in local and international medias. So let's welcome Samy here.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everybody. I hope you are all good and safe and strong and enthusiastic.
Yes.
So hope everybody, inshallah, will be fine and everybody's keeping the spirit up. And what we are trying to do now is just to keep everybody engaged in positive energy. And I really thank Paws Trails and everybody who's doing all of those magnificent efforts to keep everybody enthusiastic about this beautiful art of photography. So welcome everybody, and hopefully today we'll enjoy the session, and we'll take
Yes.
you, inshallah, to magnificent areas and stories and some techniques, and it will be a really good adventure, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you, in fact, for joining us and sharing your experience from on behalf of us as well as on behalf of all our audience.
My
Yeah.
pleasure.
We are waiting to see the amazing, magnificent photographs and your
Your
experience.
journey, yes.
So let's start at once because I think we have a lengthy lecture today. I
Yes.
wanna just, I have a lot of information to share, so I wanna start at once and let us try to be concentrated. And what we will do is we will open the for questions. Anybody who's willing to ask any question, even after the lecture is ended, for the next couple of days, we will manage to receive all your questions and we'll be answering it. We will think about the mechanism and we will let you know about the details. So let's start. بسم الله توكلنا على الله ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. توكلنا على الله. So I'll just talk briefly about myself. My name is Samy Olabi. I am Egyptian, Syrian, and I consider myself also an Emirati living in the United Arab Emirates for the last 16 years. Those are the countries I'm involved with. And from a bigger perspective, I belong to this world, this beautiful world. We all share the same planet. I was blessed with some multiple awards and publications in international magazines. I have done lots of projects with Nikon, with Apple, Microsoft, some really honorable publications in practical photography and other international magazines, BBC, National Geographic. For me, it's a very honorable thing, those kind of magazines, rather than running after just getting awards. Magazines is really an honorable mention for all photographers, and it's much easier for you to achieve something like that by doing good photography and sending it to editors all over the world. It's not a hard task to do. And year by year, you'll find yourself more familiar of how to do something catchy and required by magazine and editors. For the last 3 years, I've been conducting lots of exhibitions and workshops, mainly in collaboration with Nikon. I am a Nikon guy. Nikon was in my family since I was a child. I know in the end it's a camera. Brand is giving me this kind of passion and is giving me this kind of loyalty, and that's why I am with Nikon. I feel really honored and happy to work with many entities like the ones we can see in front of us. And it was really fun years throughout this last 3 years, 4 years, been visiting here and there and doing such beautiful trips and astrophotography trips. So let me go back multiple years back in time, like 30 to 35 years ago. I was born in Egypt, and specifically speaking, in an area in Cairo called Ard al Golf. Maybe our friends in Egypt are they familiar with it. It's almost at that time, 35 years ago, it was on the edges of the capital. It was a little bit far from lighting pollution and all of that. So at that time, around the 80s, I was playing with my friends in the neighborhood, and we used to lie down and watch the stars in the sky. And slowly, civilization, modernization started to spread, and this city started to crawl into our area, and our area became in the center of the city, and it was flooded with light pollution. And this is the case in multiple areas around the world, but still we can reach the stars, and still we can reach such beautiful dreams. Let us see this dream together, and let's go back again and watch it. So at that time, when I was young, I had this dream to capture those stars and to fly among those stars and to travel through space. And this dream came true in photography. And through photography, I managed to make this dream really come true while I am still in my same place on Earth. I will tell you shortly about the details about making this dream come true. And let's step inside a bigger picture and talk about photography itself. We are all having in common the passion for photography. Photography is a way to achieve an inner peace and a hobby that will give us that kind of passion and drive force and positive energy, the things that will keep us charged throughout the week and the month. It's a language that anybody can understand without even and learning how to speak. It represents a time out of all the hustle we see in life and this rapid rhythm of life. When we go out in the nature and we watch those animals or the stars or this beautiful landscape, we really feel connected back to home, to the real home and the real self, and we go out of this civilization and this kind of strains. So photography is really like a way out. And I want to tell you about a very interesting study. It's an international study that I just added a little bit into it to make it more understandable about the stages of the photographer. Any one of us in photography, there are some certain stages that he will walk through until he becomes a really good photographer. So the first stage, I call it the non-photographer. You shoot everything you love around you. You just try to make sense of anything around you, and you are hovering around all kinds of photography and trying to capture everything that you love. Then you start the second stage. You start to get more and more serious about it, and you get your first pro or semi-pro camera, the entry level camera, the camera that we all love. I still remember my first semi-pro camera, and we start the journey of discovering the real passion inside of us, the niche or the specialization in photography. At that time, you still photograph everything with a bit more powerful and professional approach, and you start gaining knowledge. And then this will drive you to the third stage. The third stage, that you start focusing on pretty things, and you start to know about the shutter speed and about the ISO and the exposure, and you start to know about the tricks and all of those magnificent facts about photography. And at that time, there is a very important trick that could happen to everybody almost, that you feel that you are the best photographer ever. You start to feel that everything you do is perfect, and you feel like yourself, you have reached a stage that you are really pro. You start getting all of those thousands of likes, and you feel like you halas finished this route, and you have reached the famous part of photography. This is a very important trap that you fell into it. You have to be careful at that time. You try to accomplish all of the gears and to buy all the lenses that you acquire. This is a very tricky stage in photography. You have to be careful about that stage. And then later on, you get more and more involved into specialization in photography. And this is a very important stage, the fourth stage. You get really a distinctive definition about your niche. You are an astrophotographer, you are into bird photography or nature, you are a landscaper, you are a portrait photographer, and you start to increase your experience in it, and you start to gain more and more experience in it until you feel the trigger, this passion inside you, and you are feeling you are in love. You feel like photography is just more than a hobby. You are thinking about photography every minute of the day. And the fifth stage is really a heavenly stage. You really feel it's paying off. And then you spend years and years showing your results. And then you might fall into a very hard stage, which is the sixth stage, that you are feeling you are repeating yourself. You've lost your passion. You don't have the thrive anymore to do more ideas, and you feel like you are a loser. And most of the good photographers come at that stage, and they broke down and they don't do anything new. And this is where you have to be very patient. You have to learn something new. You have to think about some projects to do to renew your career and to step into more and more ideas and continuity. And this is really a very, very important stage. I reached that stage multiple times, and I'm sure that most of the photographers are reaching that stage where you feel like you don't have anything more to give. You have to think about new ideas to make yourself sustainable, and you move to the next step, which is a message behind your photography. And this is really a very important thing. I try to summarize here stages of a photographer I hope you can look at this with multiple meanings. Try as much as possible to gain the knowledge about those stages, and try to find yourself where are you exactly, and what can you do to get the benefit out of each stage, and not to fall into the traps. The love from the first sight happened to me almost 20 years ago, and this was my first camera. I shot this tree, and I really felt passionate about this photography, this beautiful photography. After that, I jumped from one genre to another. I photographed my children, I did abstracts, I did cityscapes, I did landscapes, until I landed in the magical world of astrophotography. And this dream came true, and it came true physically, technically speaking, into 30 seconds, which is the average shutter speed for one astrophotography shot. And I'll leave you with this journey, a small journey between 2013 and 2020, when I first started specializing into astrophotography, until today, a journey among my beloved photographs in this field. So as we can see, a beautiful hobby, and astrophotography is really something that we all love. I think I have a disconnection in the. Are we there, guys? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
are we still connected?
Yeah. Your screen is not appearing.
Yeah. So, as we saw, this beautiful journey, this beautiful photography and astrophotography is really a passionate thing that I'm really happy about it. I'm really proud about it, and passionate about it. And what we are going to see today, I will walk you through those beautiful places in Egypt. Let me restart my presentation again. and we will go among the valleys and wadis of Egypt. Before that, I will give you a quick brief about the techniques behind the astrophotography, the main concepts of astrophotography. What is the knowledge that we need to know in astrophotography so we can be familiar with this kind of photography. For me, astrophotography is really easy. It's not very hard, and you will be surprised to know that this is a real fact, that it's not that hard. It is one of the easiest, maybe, genres of photography. The only difference is there are some challenges, there are some aspects that you have to know. Like bird photography, for example, or nature photography, sometimes the challenge is in the subject itself, it's not in the settings, or how you manipulate your settings in order to accommodate with the subject. So this is one of the most important things. The things that we are photographing in astrophotography is really faint, and this is a trick. We have to know exactly what kind of subject we are photographing, and what are the areas we are photographing from, and what settings we should know in order to overcome such practicality and things. So let's go back to our presentation and step into astrophotography specifically. We talked about photography. Now, astrophotography for me, it's adventurous. It's a mix between a hobby, an adventure, and a trip. I really enjoy all my timings there, going camping and doing those beautiful nights with my friends, and at the same time doing my best passionate hobby, which is the photography. So the moment I go to such remote places and switch off my engine and my lights and look up in the sky and see this beautiful Milky Way or stars, it's really magical scene and magical thing that will take your breath away and will keep you connected and wanting to go more and more into those beautiful trips. I'll leave you this very small trip into deserts and into beautiful astronomical objects like the one we are seeing in front of us. It's a beautiful journey into the Milky Way, the core of our galaxy. So, subhanallah, during the COVID-19, we were trapped in our houses. Some all over the world are still having this kind of confinement in their movement. But even during those times, we had some fun. And soon, inshallah, we will announce our practical workshops. I will run a scheme with Hermes, and we will let you know about the details. And let us now step into the types of astrophotography. Astrophotography is a very broad type of photography, and there are multiple subtypes or subgenres in it. So the most important one, or the easiest one maybe, is the solar system astrophotography, where you photograph the sun, the moon, and the planets. And the exciting thing about that you find some phenomena every now and then about certain transits or conjunction of planets or eclipses. It's happening every year, multiple times. All you have to do is just to stay connected to international astronomy applications and calendars, and you can get well acquainted with those things. The second type is the wide field astrophotography, which is, practically speaking, it's a mix between landscape and nightscape, or landscape photography taken at night, where you can mix all your subjects, regular subjects in the landscape photography with the night sky. It's a very pleasant and innovative type of astrophotography. And as you can see, time lapse and star trail are actually a semi-group from the wide field astrophotography. You do it with a special technique with your camera to trap time into one shot or 1 minute of time. It's really magnificent type of photography. And the last one is the deep sky astrophotography, where you go deeper and deeper using your telescopes and your zoom lenses, and you dive deeper into the night sky and into those mysterious, beautiful objects into the night sky, and discover more and more about the secrets of the heavens and the creation of God Almighty. It's a really beautiful genres of astrophotography. There are other types, which is subsidiary, but I talked about the main ones. The process of astrophotography, like anything in your life, in your work, you have to do the tools and techniques. You have to get your equipment. You have to know the knowledge and bring yourself other tools like softwares. Do some planning, go execute and shoot, and then do some post processing. So it's a regular process flow. Let's take it quickly and jump through those informations. Equipment. We always preferably suggest and recommend using a full frame camera, either mirrorless or DSLR. Nowadays, the crop sensors are getting very innovative, and you can still use a crop sensor. But in astrophotography, I want to collect as much light as possible, and the bigger sensor is always better. And I need a sturdy tripod. I need, depending on the type of astrophotography, I need a lens which suit my type. But the most common features that I need is aperture. I need a very fast, the fastest I can get in aperture, because I want to open my lens as much as possible to collect more and more light. I need a shutter release or a remote or intervalometer. And there are some optional equipment that I'll be talking about, which can help us get the best out of our astrophotography. So for each of those types that we talked about, there are different lenses. But let's talk about the wide field, which is the most common one, the one that everybody is really engaged with and happy with, which is the nightscapes. The usual focal lengths recommended for this type of photography in astrophotography is 14 mm to 20 mm. Even 24 mm is good enough. Aperture f2.8 or faster. Some lenses are even taking you up to 1.4. Exposure time is always between 30 and 40 seconds, and we will be talking specifically about a certain rule that correlates the focal length of your lens with the exposure time. ISO is always starting from 2000 and going up, and this is the rule of thumb. If you know all of those settings, and it's very easy to know, you already know how to shoot astrophotography. All you have to do is to just plan for it. The next tricky thing is the focus. Focus at night is not easy. You don't operate with the autofocus at all. You are dealing with a very dimmed lighting all over you, and you are in a very dark location. So the best thing to do is to open your live view. It's a bit hard to explain while we are doing it online, but I'll try as much as possible to let you understand how to do it. You open your live view. You try to point your camera towards one of the brightest stars in the sky. If you have a moon, which will be even better, but let's talk about stars, because this is the most commonly thing that we will find in the night sky. Just pick a big bright star, a planet, and try to put your camera in manual mode, in manual focus, and fine-tune your manual focus around the infinity point. It doesn't have to be at the infinity mark always, because it's different from manufacturer to another. It's also dependable on the heat. So try to maneuver around the to and fro from the infinity until you get the star in its most focused stage, which is the minimal. You can find your star, the smallest star, which is the indication that you are in focus, as you can see from this diagram. And the next thing that you need to know, the times of the year that, or the months that you can shoot in the night sky. Anytime throughout the year is suitable for astrophotography. But if you are looking after the Milky Way, and specifically the core of the Milky Way, the best months are May to August, September, which is now is the end of the Milky Way season. It's still there up to even October, but it's getting fastly after the sun set in the middle of the sky. So the summer in the northern hemisphere is the best time to shoot the core of the Milky Way. And actually, our Milky Way galaxy looks like that figure in front of us, the one you can see here. This is our Milky Way galaxy, and we see it from Earth in that perspective, and that's why we see the core of the Milky Way in its brightest form, and the smoke and the clouds of the heavenly clouds and nebulas and all of those things that came across this the core of the Milky Way, which will show those features, beautiful features of the Milky Way. If you do understand or imagine this perspective, you will be amazed about it. And apparently, we see this sky and the stars are rotating, but actually, what rotate is the Earth itself, and the movement of the stars is just an apparent motion of the sky. And we need to get those round stars. Sometimes we see these trailed stars, and it happens because of one of two reasons: either we are exposing too much, or we are shooting to get a trailed star. But usually we want to get around focused pinpoint stars, and that's why we have to follow this rule. We call it 500 rule. Some people call it 600 rule, and the name is driven from the constant 500 or 600. All we have to do is to divide the focal lengths and the 500 by each other, and we get the number of seconds. So let's get a practical example about it. If we have a 50 mm and we have a full frame sensor, we multiply 500 by 50, we get 10 seconds. So in other words, I can expose my camera with a 50 mm up to 10 seconds without having any trailed star. So that's the trick, and it's a function, it's a mathematical function, and there is a factor also related to the crop sensor, and 1.5 is the most, or 1.6 is the crop factor. So we multiply it also by the same figure. So 500, if we have a crop sensor, we multiply 500 by 50. By again 1.5, we get 7 seconds. So this is the 500 rule. It's a very important rule for us to understand. And if we know this rule, we will know exactly how to expose at night, up to how many seconds. The Earth is rotating around its axis, as we can see in this figure. And it happened that at the same center of this rotation, there is a star that never changed its position, which is a North Star, or the celestial pole, or Polaris. They call it many names. And it's like a point of calibration for all the astronomical equipment and compasses, and even the historic people used to navigate through the night sky and through even areas of the Earth by using this kind of indication, the North Star. It's always at the same location in the same part of the sky, because it's lying exactly on the axial tilt of the Earth. And that will drive us to the next point, which is the optional equipment, getting a tracker that will imitate the rotation of Earth around its axis, which will enable us to break this 500 rule and to break this exposure rule and open our camera exposure up to 1 minute and 2 minutes and 3 minutes and so on, and get more of those details and reduce the ISO and get more crisp results. And this is a very important technique. This simple tool is a very important tool for whoever want to step into deep sky astrophotography, or even crispier and more vivid, colorful Milky Way shots. So that's the trick. Getting some knowledge quickly. Light pollution, as we can see, there is a Bortle scale. In the city we see at 8 or 7 or 9, and when we go further away into the countryside, into the deserts, we see the sky is getting clearer and clearer until we reach a Bortle scale of 3 or 2, and this is very suitable for even for photographing the Milky Way and the stars. I'm giving you here some examples of websites which will show you the light pollution and where exactly you should go to shoot. So we always use such kind of websites to get acquainted and familiar with the light pollution in our area, and where is the nearest area that I can travel to and shoot stars. We have to know about the phases of the moon. Phases of the moon is very important. We always pick the new moon stage, and it happened to be the Arabic months, Islamic months of Ramadan, Shawwal, Zul Qa'da, Zul Hijjah. All of those months are based on the phases of the moon. So picking up a new moon a night is always the best nights to shoot stars and Milky Way. There are calendars all over the internet and applications which will show you the moon calendar and the moon phase. The last most important aspect is weather. We have to pick dry, clear nights into shooting such beautiful heavenly objects. And there are lots of sources about such knowledge about weather. It's getting very improved now, and there are multiple tools on our smartphones. It's becoming very easy for us to plan for an astrophotography trip and night using all of those applications in front of you. I gathered all the important applications for you to plan your astrophotography trip. And there are some requirements and considerations. When you go out and shoot, you need to have extra batteries, you need to have flashlights, headlights, you need to have proper snacks, proper clothing, comfy chairs, and some maybe first aid kits, and some bug spray, some basic things that you have to be familiar with and to prepare yourself and get those things and get ready for your adventure, and go and shoot and get yourself into those magnificent shots and stories. And this is the fun part of today's lecture. Let's step into Egypt and go into the valleys and desert of Egypt. And I'll take you now into such beautiful areas. I will share with you the photos, the experience, the settings, even the post-processing of some of the photos. It will be a very comprehensive journey into multiple photographs and trips that I have done myself throughout Egypt. And I hope you enjoy the coming part of the lecture. It's the fun part for me, and I hope you really enjoy it. We will start by going to a place called Wadi Hitan, or Valley of the Whales. Valley of the Whales is a place in the middle of the desert. It's around, as we can see, 200 to 150 to 250 kilometers from cities in Egypt. There is a small village nearby called Al Fayoum. It's a greenery village. This part in the middle of the desert was discovered recently in the middle of the desert, and they discovered certain species, fossils of a whale. And this whale or this species that they have discovered is like the broken link between the whale that we know nowadays and the whale that was there in the beginning of time, the mammal that was walking on the earth. So this kind of intermediate link is found in Egypt. UNESCO was very interested when this discovery was made. And this beautiful village, Tunis, they call it Tunis village. It's similar to the name of the country Tunis. It's not to be mixed with Tunis, the country, but it's because it's green, it's having some feature like Tunis. This beautiful valley is really magnificent. Away from this Tunis village, we drove and we went deep into the desert. I went at that time for the first time around 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and that valley was at that time not very famous among visitors and photographers. And as I told you, it's like a 3 hours drive from Cairo, and we went into that, and it was a heavenly, a beautiful place, beautiful formations, special mountains and formations. And this place was actually a seabed, hundreds and thousands of years ago. It was a seabed, and that place is really magnificent. And UNESCO have made it like an open museum. The Even the buildings inside this place is beautiful, and it's done on a traditional Egyptian way. Villagers in this nearby village, they have those beautiful kind of houses, which is created from the soil of the land itself. So it's perfectly blending with the nature. It does not scratch the beauty of the nature. A beautiful place and beautiful formation compositions. And as I told you, there are fossils. It took special permissions, and I photographed those fossils deep down into the desert. And it was really a magnificent feeling that I felt when I was standing all by myself with one friend and member of my family, and we were seeing this historic moment of life. It's really, really beautiful place. I went there multiple years, and one of the years I went there, I said to myself, I will stay 2 nights shooting, and the third night I will stay enjoying my night and watching the stars and enjoying the animals and the stars and all of the beautiful things in this valley, Wadi Al Hitan. Very close to this valley, there is a mountain, and this mountain they call it Solitude or Munfarida Mountain. This mountain is having a very sad story. During the World War II, there was a German plane which was shot by British forces, and it fell into this area very close to this mountain. And there was three pilots on this plane. The two pilots died, and the third pilot remained alive for maybe a few hours. And he craved his name and the story about this journey and this flight into the rocks. And then later on, people discovered his body, and the plane crash. And the villagers in this simple village of Tunis and Fayoum, they made like a funeral for this soul, for those souls who lost their lives because of this war. And this beautiful place and beautiful area, I went there for a trip So Egypt. There's a lot of beautiful places in Egypt. I'm really happy about it, and inshallah, maybe you will get time to see Egypt. And there are beautiful places in Egypt where you can visit and see those beautiful things. And we will drive and go to other places. Let me just check my presentation. All right. So this Munfarida mountain, as I told you, where the place this soldier is buried, or those soldiers are buried, there is a single tree, a very small tree, magnificent symbol. I call this photo solitude, because a single mountain, a single tree, as if it's paying a tribute for those souls, human souls, who pitifully died for war and violence. So this place, or this particular photo, is a panorama of 3 shots, as we can see. I felt that the composition needs a little bit of adjustment and need some borders around it. So I felt the panorama is going to give me what I want. Although I was using a 12 mm lens, I felt I need to get the whole scene in front of me. So sometimes panorama really do you good and can get you what you want. As we can see, f2.8, 30 seconds, ISO 4000. I used 4000 because the place is very dark. I wanted to get as much light as possible. 2000, 2500, I can see nothing. So I put my ISO up to 4000 in order to start seeing some details. And in the post-processing, I got the details that I want. Composition-wise, I want to tell you or show you a very interesting example. This is the same location, same spot. All I did is I took this first shot and I felt that there's something wrong. I felt that the composition is not right. So what I did, I get closer to the ground, and this is what I got. So these 2 shots are taken in the same spot, with the same camera, with the same lens. The only difference that I got close to the ground and got a bit closer to this tree, so I can get this angle. So what I want to tell you here, sometimes you are very close to the perfect shot. All you have to do is just to be try to be as much as possible patient and try to get your composition right. Sometimes going closer to the ground is going to get you some magnificent results, especially in astrophotography. It's actually a thing that I do always. I always carry a very small tripod, not a big one, and I get closer to the ground and I shoot. This Munfarida mountain is a great place, and it's still there, this lonely mountain. And as we can see, this photo is 360 photo and 12 shots, f2.8, 30 seconds, ISO 4000, taken with a 12 mm and the Nikon D800 camera. And the beautiful place of Munfarida is unforgettable. Let us jump into a very interesting thing that happened to me on this journey. While I'm going back to Dubai, I booked a flight at night, and I took a position in the flight, and I tried to get the Milky Way from my window. So I planned for it quickly, and I booked this flight, and I took a test shot out of my window, and here it is, the Milky Way in all its glory at the wing of this plane. So I kept the whole night trying as much as possible to get the best result, and I was lucky to get this beautiful shot of the Milky Way from a plane. This idea was done by only few people around the world. I was not the first one to do it, but I wanted really to do it, and I did it on my way back from Cairo to Dubai. And the trick was to get very fast shutter, relatively speaking, compared to the 30 seconds. So I got like 8 seconds, 5 seconds, and I increased my ISO up to 8,000 in order to get details of the Milky Way. F1.8, as you can see, I used a fast lens in order to overcome the aeroplane and the vibration that can happen inside the aeroplane. And it was a magnificent experience. Let's go to another place in Egypt, a magnificent place in the southern part of Egypt. It's called White Desert, أو الصحراء البيضاء. This place is pitch black. You can see the stars like you have never seen it before in your whole life. It's a magnificent area. I went there twice, and I am really anxious to go there more and more and more. And I encourage everybody to go there now. This time, it's even triple the distance. It's around close to 550 kilometers away from Cairo, and the place is magnificent in the middle of the desert. And there are some oases around this place, a beautiful greenery village with beautiful Bedouins living in such village. Really magnificent. You can see even historic houses, simple mud houses from hundreds and hundreds of years. We took this trip and we went deeper into the desert, and it's actually a national park. There's a lot of beautiful scenery there, beautiful formations. It's a geological, magnificent area. You can find mountains made of crystal and volcanoes, ancient volcanoes with this black rubble around it. And then we reach the final location in a very beautiful place. They call it Wadi Akabat. I camped at that area with my guides and my friends. It's a beautiful place. Those monuments look very strange and magnificent, and you can find formations made into shapes. This shape like a rabbit, this shape like a bird, like a mushroom. It's a magnificent area actually, and the geological versatility of the area, it makes it very, very, very unique. You can find white rocks, black rocks, basalt. You can find yellow sand, beautiful formations and beautiful rock formations, arcs and caves. I can tell you that it's one of the best beautiful places I've seen in my whole life. I picked this location, this beautiful arc, and we scouted this location and we camped at that location. And then the night fell in, and it was when the magic started. I found a small cave. I put my camera inside this cave. One of my cameras, I kept it throughout the whole night from the sunset up to the sunrise, shooting the night sky throughout the movement. And this is another shot, a 360 shot of this beautiful valley. And this is where I put my camera. I inspected the cave first, and I thought I saw a snake inside. I tried to be very careful until I got the place clear. I put my camera inside, and then I took this time lapses. I will leave you with this overview and this vision from this beautiful place. Just dream with me about it. A beautiful place and a beautiful experience. I was like crazy at that night. I remember I had three cameras with me. I want to take as much time lapses as possible. I want to translate and transmit this beauty in this area, and to show how beautiful is this area is, and to try to get the most out of it. I tried to take 360s shots and time lapses in order for me to get the most out of this experience. I wish I can go there and again and enjoy this magnificent area. And let's see some of the photos behind this place. During the first few or 10 minutes or 20 minutes after the sunset, you will see this magnificent blue light, the blue hour, and the Milky Way is rising there with the full arc of the Milky Way showing, and we can see the four planets, visible planets: Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, and Venus, all in straight line in this beautiful sky at that point of time in August 2018. It was a beautiful experience. As we can see, the place is magnificent. The same shot from almost the same angle throughout the night. After the blue hour have faded away, we can see the difference in lighting and how clearer is the sky, and magnificent is the quality of the night sky in this place. I took multiple shots going up and down through the valleys. This other shot, 360 shot, from this beautiful nearby Wadi, from the same location. The second night I went to this location. It was a beautiful area, still the white desert in a different Wadi. And this is just inside this arc that I showed you, that we camped in. Another 360 photo. All of those shots are in our exhibition. You can find it in the website with Paws Trail. I think it's all posted and you can access it at any time. And that's me inside this arc. I want to remember that night as much as possible. And it was a beautiful night. I tried exploring different ideas, just to think outside the box and to get some different compositions and different angles. The white desert is heavens on earth. It's a beautiful place, and I really like it. I will leave you now with this beautiful explanation of how to stack and post-process this shot. What I did, I will just narrate while I explain this shot. I took 9 shots of the same angle, same position, same shot with the same settings, and I want to do stacking technique, which is very famous in astrophotography. You can do it with wide angle shots even. This was a 1424 mm Nikon lens, and as we can see, I used software, a very simple free software called Google Sequator. I opened those shots all together and I picked certain settings. Let me see now the whole process in front of you. This is the software, and you can download it from just searching through Google Sequator. And the layout is very easy, actually. It's not very hard to deal with. You drag and drop your photos inside. I think it was 9 photos. And you select one of them as a datum, a base image. You select the output folder that you want to save your output stacked file in it. And there are certain settings that you want to do. to align those stars together. The tricky part here is that you have sky and you have ground. The sky is moving, the ground is fixed. So you have to mask it out. And this is the process of masking the sky out. You select everything as approximate as possible, and then with invert click, and you reduce the radius, and you mask out those mountains. As we can see, this is a very quick, crash, condensed, advanced post-processing episode. I hope you can get the benefit out of it. You can always go back to this video on YouTube and rewind back and see it again and again until you get well acquainted with this crash course. So I'm masking out now, as you can see, the mountains. I want to keep the sky into the memory of this software, that this is the stars, and I want to stack this, and I want to exclude the landscape on those mountains out of the stacking technique. But the interesting thing that it will stack also the foreground, but as a fixed foreground. So it will stack the movement in the background, which is the sky, and stack the foreground. And you have only to tell the software that this is a partial sky region. And as you can see, freeze ground is a check that you have to do in order to do this kind of both stacking for foreground and background. If you have any question in this particular part, you can feel free to ask the question later on WhatsApp, and I will be responding to every single question. So we just are ready now, and we just process the photo. And the good thing about this software, it's very fast. It doesn't take much time. This is real speed without speeding up the video. It's a real speed. It will take around 30 seconds until you stack the whole image together, and you will start to see the magic behind it. What is the secret behind stacking, and why I do stacking, and why stacking is the most known technique for everybody who's doing the astrophotography. It's almost done. 1 second to go, and here it is, done. The export or the output file is a TIFF file, so it's almost like a raw file. I have to open it now with Photoshop or any kind of post-processing shot. As you can see, it's a bit washed, but this is nothing to worry about because that's the normal behavior of a stacked image. All you have to do is just to post-process it. All right, so we open it in Photoshop. As we can see, we leave this equator behind, and we open the photo in Photoshop. Here we are. I use Camera Raw Editor as the main tool for post-processing. A bit of dehaze, a bit of contrast, and the details are showing up now, more vivid, more clear, less noisy. A bit of just slight adjustments. I'm not doing extreme post-processing. The good thing about the stacked raw file or stacked TIFF file that it's very rich in information. A little bit of post-processing will do perfect to it. You don't have to go extreme. As you can see, I'm doing differential post-processing, foreground to the background. The earth or the foreground is always hot, and the sky, most of the cases, it's cold. I mean in temperature, color temperature. So the differential post-processing is very important to get a realistic output. We don't want those overcooked images that look like cartoonish images that some photographers do, and they get very happy about the likes, and they get away from realistic perception. We need realistic photographs. In astrophotography, there is always a trick where you get those cartoonish photographs. So as we saw, that was the output. This is another shot from the same location, 30 seconds, f2.8, ISO 4000, 14 mm Nikon lens, and D10A. Nikon D10A is a specialized astronomy camera. It's practically speaking like the D810, but with some additional settings and additional features. Other photo there I took with multiple exposures for the foreground and the background. I took the foreground with 120 seconds, as we can see, and I broke the rule of the 500 rule because I'm shooting the foreground. I just want to get beautiful, clear details in the foreground. And then I took 4 shots of the background, which is the sky, and I took it with those 30 seconds. 4 shots, if we stack it together, it would be as if it's a 120 seconds exposure. Blending both of them together will result in this image. And that's the secret behind stacking. Let's go now away from white desert in the southern part of Egypt, and let's go to the north. Let's go to Sinai. Sinai, it's a holy place in Egypt. It's in the upper part of Egypt. It's between the 2 fingers of the Red Sea. A magnificent place, magnificent people living in this place. The versatility of the nature there is like I can never describe. Everywhere is different. Every wadi is different. It's really a beautiful place. You can find trees, fruits, a beautiful place. And I spent 3 nights there last summer in 2019. I took a private trip there with my family and my kids, my wife, and we went there and we spent among the villagers and the Bedouins, beautiful Bedouins of Sinai, beautiful people with traditions and characteristics like I've never seen before in my whole life. Very generous people. And I every night of those 3 nights I spent in a different wadi, in a different nature. One wadi was having those beautiful palm trees and magnificent area, and those are the villagers. They never left me alone. They always want to accompany me everywhere. They want to keep me safe. Although I am really acquainted and I'm used to go into the dark, but they said to me, no, I will not leave you. I will stay with you all the night until you feel safe and sound. And this is a close by place near the sunset, a beautiful place. Sinai is a beautiful area in Egypt. I really love Sinai and it's magnificent. And this is the end of our session. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get a glimpse of this beautiful hobby and this beautiful adventurous hobby. And I hope you can visit Egypt one time and go explore those beautiful areas in Egypt. If you have any question, let me know, and we will keep this group on WhatsApp open for questions if you have any questions. And as I promised you, we will be thinking about an astrophotography course, a workshop, a real life workshop. I will manage the details with the beautiful team of Paws Trails, and we will let you know. So I hope you enjoyed today's lecture. I hope you enjoyed today's session, and I will leave the mic to Nisha and Hermes to close this session out and see you all sound and safe, inshallah.
Oh, that was an amazing journey. That was, you really took us over there. Not only that, you really teach us. I mean, you now we can do at least a little bit by ourselves. That was fabulous.
Thank
It was really a masterclass.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Wow. Well, I mean, you should.
Hermes, I think you are muted.
Hermit, we cannot hear you.
Yeah.
I said you literally took us through the deserts and valley of Egypt.
Yeah. And I mean, every detail of every detail of your work and how your approach and including the post process by step. No one will do that. I mean, that is amazing.
Thanks a lot. I really wish people will love this kind of photography because I love it, and I love to see people passionate about it. So my role and my aim is to get people into this passion. So let's get people excited about it. I
Yeah.
want to see people asking me questions about it. I want to see people wanting to jump into this genre. And as I told everybody, inshallah, soon we will announce our workshops,
Yes.
our practical workshops, and let us wait for the details. I will let you know. We will let you know all from Nikon, Paws Trail, Explorers, and myself, Samy Olabi, and I will let you know about the details, inshallah, soon. So anything else you want to add, Hermes, feel free to do it. We'll be closing out our session, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we have any questions, Hermit?
We have a lot of appreciation for your talk in our comment section.
Yeah.
Like wonderful session, and thanks for sharing. Mesmerized. Lot of comments we got. So I hope we will get the questions in the couple of hours, or maybe in couple of days. We'll have a lot of questions also regarding Astro
Inshallah.
Photography.
Yeah, that's the
So
most important part. I will wait for the questions.
yes,
Anything you feel you want to ask, just
Yeah.
ask me. On the WhatsApp group, Hermes will add me, and I will be there. I'll be answering your questions. And as I told you, as I promised you, within a week or 10 days maximum, we will announce our sessions, our workshop, and let us see. It will be magnificent,
we
inshallah.
already got a lot of questions regarding when will be the
Yeah. Work.
Soon, soon.
Yes. Yes.
All right. All right. Perfect. All right, guys.
yeah. Thank you so much again, Samy.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye. That was amazing.
Yeah.
This detail and
Feeling Astro Photography Masterclass for the first time, and I'm like
um,
I'm already there.
this is definitely different. This was awesome. This is like definitely a clear idea about how we can give a masterclass online. You
Yes.
can really take people literally into a different state.
He have taken it in a very cool way. Like anybody who listen to this talk will get attracted to the astrophotography, or will want to visit Egypt as well. There
Yeah.
are a lot of places that we don't know that we came to know today.
Yes.
Very humble person,
Yes.
and hats off to his dedication.
Yes.
I'm actually looking forward for the uh,
Practical session.
practical session in Dubai.
I'm really getting jealous now. Yeah, but yeah, enjoy, guys. I'll have my time, sure, someday.
We will announce it very soon.
Yeah. Okay. That's definitely. I mean, I'm really touched, and it was really an honor. I mean, and it was such a fabulous session. All right. Okay. So once again, thanks for Samy, and thank you all for this support. And in case if there is any more questions, please do let us know, and please do be a part of our WhatsApp group as well. We are going to add Samy in that so that you can interact directly with him and clear your doubts. For a couple of maybe for a week or so, as per according to his timing. And on that note, our next workshop is next session is going to be on Wednesday by Dr. Peter Hudson, and he's going to talk about wolves.
Yeah, Doctor, what is the best place? Doctor will be announcing the workshop soon. You can join us. We
Yes.
will this new location apart from Liva.
Yeah, we will have a discussion with Samy, and we'll decide a place, and we shall announce it on our social media, and we will be emailing to all the people who have registered for this, so that in case any of you are interested, then you will be able to, join us.
Yeah, as Mr. Sami said, his mission is to bring people more into astrophotography. Our mission is also the same, but connecting people more with nature.
Yeah.
Astro or skies are big
Uh,
part of
yes.
universe nature. So we connect you through all the channels that we can, and that's our mission. That's Paws Trails' mission.
Yeah. So whether it is astro, whether it is landscape, whether it is macro or mammals or birds or underwater. In fact, we are going to have an underwater again coming up on very soon.
Yeah.
And the next one, as I mentioned, it's going to be by Dr. Peter Hudson, and he's going to talk about wolves from Yellowstone. So
Okay.
last week again we saw in Yellowstone, but we haven't seen wolves. So this particular one is going to just focus on wolves.
And it will be more of a scientific side as well.
Yes.
Okay, so it's bye for the day.
Yeah.
We'll meet you on Wednesday.
Yes. Same time. With,
And thank you for
and
attending the sessions.
what about the exhibition link?
Yeah, I will post the exhibition link here.
So
And
we are going to share it on our social medias too. This is one of these spectacular collection from Samy. We have put it in an online exhibition. Please check this link. You will be able to see the work and the details over there. We will be sharing it in through all our social medias too.
I'll just take
Can you share it?
yeah, I'll just take you through the how to go to the exhibition. Australia's website, we have a section called Take Action. Under that, exhibitions. Click on exhibitions. On your right side, you can see the first exhibition, A Journey Through the Valleys and Desert of Egypt. Enter the exhibition. You have an option to go full screen. Are you able to see?
Yes. Can you just take us through?
Yeah. So this is the
Title.
yeah. You can either scroll your mouse through this or click on one image. You get the details here. Next, all the details are written, what camera used, where it was taken, which year it was taken. The next button allows you to go through all the pictures and all the details you will get. This is an amazing shot.
That is
Yeah,
awesome.
something I didn't know that you can do this.
Yeah, how can you do this? I mean, that was my question. How can you do it from a flight?
So that's all about the exhibition. You guys can go. As I said, uh, let me exit.
We are
Uh,
sharing this.
Boston, we have a section called Take Action. Under that, exhibitions. And I will also paste.
So that was the journey, and we will be adding this in our social medias too, along with the poster, so that if you're finding it difficult, then you will be able to get the proper link. And I'm going to share it in my story too, so there will be a swipe up option in my story as well as in poster, so it's going to be even more easier.
Books I have already given.
Okay, so
Okay,
yeah,
that's it. We'll see you on Wednesday.
along with Dr. Peter.
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys. Please do take care. Keep the social distancing. Use your mask and take care of yourself and people around you. Okay, then.